Well, hello. Hello, everyone. We are starting. Somebody thought it was a great idea to steal my spot right before I started the stream. Akira. And he loves his brushie. So I thought I will lure him away in a moment after he gets what he came for. Yes. Akira. It was here a second ago and he kept pawing at it. Okay, there we go. Ooh, it's me. I'm really the streamer, but we all know why you're actually here. All right, I should have grabbed my left-handed mouse for this. Because we are set up. Oh, you want to go up? Okay. We're set up on a different computer today, and now everything is on my left. The tech stuff is on my left. Usually my laptop's over here and it's right next to my desk. Anyway, no one cares. Hello, everybody. I saw Ashley was here before I even started, and Fast Squatch, and hey, Pat. So today we are going to do a little color work. It's kind of going to be a guessing game, I think, because I put all of my Jackman's watercolors and gouache in this little palette like months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. And then I went away on all my travels, and I thought I was going to be able to do the whole swatching thing and all this before I left, but I didn't get to it. So these colors have been in here and I completely forgot which colors are which. So I need to do the swatches of the color out of the tube and then swatch each of these and try to match them, which shouldn't be too difficult because there's only so many colors. But then I will know what is what, and then I can make the light fast tests for the gouache. And then I can make my little cheat sheet swatches for my collection that I have for all of my watercolors. So yeah, that's what's happening. Hi Teresa, Deep in Pain, Messy Desk, Simone, Linda, Mary, Rascal. Hello everybody. And so I don't know how long we're gonna stream today, but I figured it's a good thing to do on a Sunday afternoon. And tomorrow we're getting a really big storm, so I think I lucked out because I'm pretty sure like either we're gonna lose power tomorrow or the internet will be terrible. So today is the day. Yeah, so that's what's happening. If Akira comes back, we will have a little kitten moment on stream. But for now, let's see what we're working with. Oh, actually, I do have you on my iPad over here, so that will be a little easier. Also, let me know if the sound is okay, my voice, and if you hear the music. Should I turn it up or down? I'm kind of starting fresh with the stream setup today because I switched back to using my desktop. And I have a different microphone now, and I have a different camera. I have my old I have my old stream setup technically going right now instead of my MacBook. Hello, Anka. Hello, Suja. Hello, everyone. I have my... Oops, that's me on the background. There we go. So now I can see chat over here, which is a little closer to me. It's funny, whenever I have the stream on my desktop and on my MacBook over here or my iPad, I like look at the chat over here and then I look over there and start reading chat over there and I forget they're on both sides. I don't know, it's weird. These are all of my colors. Actually, should we do a little like intro? Sounds good? Okay, great. That's really good to know. Really good to hear because I was doing little like recording, testing it out and trying to see if it was too loud or too quiet, and it felt like it was a little too loud on my side, but we'll see. We'll go with it. Maybe if the certain songs might be louder than others or something. Usually I do an actual video with this content. There we go. We have a little light. I usually do an actual recorded video where I swatch everything, talk about it. Like for all of my past palette videos, especially in the last couple years when I switched to using Daniel Smith, I've always done like a proper swatching video. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna like switch to using Jackmans or use it more regularly. I'm still getting used to it and still feeling it out a little bit, but it is made here in the UK and I love that. And I would love to use more local materials as much as possible. So whenever I see something pop up, I want to try it. I want to give it a go. And I guess, yeah, I have a small selection. These are the watercolors and these are the gouache, and Jackmans sent me like 4 or 5 colors of the watercolors, and then they sent me, I think, most of this gouache. I may have bought one color, but I bought a bunch of other colors for the watercolor to kind of fill in the gaps and make like a full palette, I guess, which is what we have here. And if you missed what I said at the beginning of the stream, I had poured all of these before I went away on all my travels. So these have been in here for like 2 months at least, and they are quite dry. So I can kind of tell which ones are the gouache based on that. I think that's what those are. But not necessarily, because I think that's gouache, but it's still almost shiny. And we'll talk a little bit more about the gouache later, because I actually did have some issues with that. But yeah, we'll start with swatching the tubes so I at least know like what is what, and I'll label each one. But if you don't know, Jackmans is a company that's made here in the UK. I think they started their company in 2019, so it's pretty new, but they're still handmade here in the UK. They're not like super mass produced yet. I think they also make acrylics and oils, maybe. Don't quote me on that, but they do make a variety of things, a variety of materials. Let's fix the lighting. All right. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Ilaf. Hey, Kung Pao. Hello. Hey, Karen. Blending in gouache is your biggest concern. Wanted to ask a solution. Maybe not relevant. Yeah, I'm not sure if that will apply to today's topic, but it's definitely something for me to keep in my mind when I talk about gouache in another video, like actually talking about the blending side of it. Oh, and by the way, I am going to be on Art School Live in a couple weeks. Do you guys know what that is? It's a YouTube channel by Eric Rhodes, and I'm going to be on August 19th. And my topic for that stream is, I'm going to be a guest on their stream, I should say. I think they might post it on Facebook too, but I know it's on YouTube. They said I could do whatever I wanted, and it was definitely going to be gouache. So I decided my topic is going to be, I don't know the exact name yet, but I'm calling it like easing into gouache. And the whole point will be to share like 5 of my top tips for like basic fundamental things, techniques that you need to know with gouache before you dive into like landscape painting. So that could be blending gouache, that could be wet into wet or dry brush. It could be so many different things. I actually have to narrow it down because I think I only have 45 minutes to an hour. I'll come up with like a little itinerary, but I'm trying to think of it from a beginner's mindset of like, okay, if I'm just starting, what would be like the 5 techniques I have to know that will help me do anything. So I'll think about it from the mindset of like, if I was doing a sky scene, or if I was doing a water scene or a mountain or whatever it is, what would the technique be that would really help? Water control, yeah, that's just an ongoing thing forever with gouache. That's going to be something that you practice. I still practice it. I still have to work out the kinks a lot of times with gouache. But we can definitely talk about that throughout the stream because that is a big concern for a lot of people. I may start with just talking about like the basic materials that I use. I'm not really allowed to talk about brand names because they have their own sponsors and it can kind of mess with their sponsors and their ads. So, but I'll talk about like generic stuff. Like I use a Stay Wet palette and I use flat brushes a lot, that kind of thing. So I'm really excited for that. And yeah, save the date, August 19th. And of course, if you're there live, you can ask questions. And I think we'll, between Eric and I, Eric also uses gouache, so he'll be able to answer stuff too. And I'm sure there will be plenty of other people there that love gouache and know gouache. And yeah, that'll be fun. And I have been thinking about doing this for a while, but making a new Skillshare class that I would also post on my Patreon that would be the same idea where it's like easing into gouache, 10 basic techniques. Like what are the 10 things to get started. And I think that's something I've had a lot of requests for over time, and I sprinkle those ideas into all my tutorials, but I've never made like a single little class or like 1 to 2 hour tutorial just on that topic, I don't think. I've done past streams where I've answered a ton of gouache questions and showed basic stuff, but I've never done like this format. So I think I've told Wolfie a while ago I wanted to do it and I still haven't done it. So that's my goal for the rest of the summer, or to do that by the end of the summer. This art school live thing was a way to remind me that I wanted to do it. You really want to get in just harder and harder to not try gouache. Hey Clementine, hey Mezcla, hey, I think if I just missed saying hello to anyone, I'm sorry. Hello. Hopefully my fan isn't too loud. I am really hot in here, so I need it. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is swatch the color straight from the tube. And I have played with a few of these here and there, and you may have heard me mention some of them in some of my other videos this year, but I just started using these this year. I think I started during April, so I took a few out during Plein April, which was kind of fun. Excuse me. I especially have been using the Paddle Shadow a lot, which I actually just found out it's a collaboration color they did with another artist. So that's kind of cool. Oh, and by the way, I do have a discount if anyone wants to try Jackmans. I think that's the command. We'll see if it pops up. Yes, cool. That link, I think it takes you to my page, or takes you to the discount. It's probably just my name. Yeah, I think Petal Shadow is the one I've been using the most and talking about the most because it's just so fun. But I've been slowly playing with the other ones here and there. And again, I don't know if these will replace my love for Daniel Smith because I've just been obsessed with Daniel Smith for so long. I think it takes me a couple years to really get into a new brand and really get a feel for it. I don't know why. I just can't commit to just one unless I've been constantly using it because I want to use it, you know? And I know you don't have to commit to one brand. Of course not. That's just what I started doing when I switched to using Daniel Smith because I loved every single color I found in that lineup, their watercolor lineup. So anyway, yeah, this will be interesting. Like I said, this is going to be a guessing game, trying to figure out what is what in here. I can kind of tell some of them. Like I only have one buff titanium. That's Petal Shadow. That's lavender. So it shouldn't be too challenging, but I guess I'll start with just this scrap piece of paper. That's a fun name. Yeah. They have a few really interesting ones. Like when they first reached out to me, they said, "Do you want to try anything on our site?" I was like, "Yeah, I love the look of your super granulating, like multi-pigment colors, because they have the swatches on their website." So I chose all these little ones at first. I think I had one more petal. Oh yeah, I had the petal shadow in here. So these were a bunch of the granulating ones I first tried, and I was like, okay, that's fun. So then I got a couple more, and like, yeah, I just kept kind of growing the collection. Where do I want to start? I'll start with the yellows. And I am going to draw a line just so I know if anything is super opaque, which I doubt will be, but you never know. You draw black dots on the lip of the pan with a Sharpie. How do you mean? Ow. I hate these kinds of caps, I have to say. A lot of brands use these caps, and when they're really like stuck on, I always hurt my hand. I have to like pat it with something when I take it off. I honestly don't know if there is a type of cap that doesn't do that. We're just gonna dive straight in with the color from the tube. I'm not gonna like put it on a palette or anything right now. So the only thing is I'm hoping none of these are like the binder hasn't separated, because then it's gonna ooze out all over me. So we have typical Hansa yellow color, like super intense, very crisp and clean, bright yellow. Oh man, I'm definitely gonna need multiple pieces of paper if I swatch that big. But it's okay, because I'll end up cutting these out probably and using them as like my little strip test swatches. The only thing is I am absolutely going to label them as I go, because otherwise should I put the pigment name too? Pigment number PY3. Why not? Let's do it. And also let's get a little light on this side. Is it focusing? It's the best packaging they've had. Oh, have they had others? Hey, Woosie. Schminke has a tube opener? What? Hey, Michelle. All right, next we have the Naples yellow light. I never have issues with the little tubes. It's just the bigger ones. After all of the swatching and stuff, I probably will do a little color mixing cheat sheet, because I like doing that with my sets. So we'll do a little like green mixing and neutrals and other stuff like that. When I do these swatches, though, I kind of keep it more natural. I don't try to make it too perfect. I try to swatch it like I would be using it in a regular painting. I find that more useful, because then if you end up with like back flow and blooms and things like that, those are the things I use in my actual paintings, and I like to see them in my test sheets a lot. I mean, I think I used to go pretty crazy with making like perfect squares and filling them in perfectly and getting like opaque and like super transparent here. And I went a little overboard for a while, but nowadays I'm like way more, maybe not messy, but I don't know. There's a purpose for it. It is purposeful. Naples yellow light. And it's PY41. Yeah. A set of pliers. I actually do have a set of pliers somewhere. I always forget where I put them in my office. Jackman, you didn't even know they did gouache. I think it might be new. I'm not 100% sure how long they've had their gouache. But because they have very few colors, but, and I'll show you what, mine arrived with a lot of pigment separation, and I don't know if that's normal for their stuff, but I really struggled at first. I had to like put toothpicks into almost every single one, and then when I was pouring it, it was still kind of doing it. So a lot of these were like super, super liquidy when I first poured them in, but now they're perfectly great as dried gouache in the pan. So I think it was a blessing that I left this for so long, because it was a great test to see if it will last, if it will hold its shape and all of that. This one shrank quite a bit. I don't know if I filled it enough, but yeah, none of these have fallen out, and it's been 2 months, so that's great to know. Like usually I'm using them way more often, so it doesn't really happen. I only have 2 reds, quinacridone magenta and burnt sienna. Hello, Robert. How's the weather today? Today is absolutely gorgeous. I just went for a really lovely little forest walk. It was wonderful. Okay, we'll go with burnt sienna first. But we are getting a super huge storm tomorrow, Storm Floris, and it's predicted to be like upwards of 80-mile-per-hour winds, which is really scary. So I just went out and like took down all of our things that can fly around, umbrellas and things that tend to end up across the grass. I just love burnt sienna. It's so pretty. I think I want to make a special earthy palette before I go to Spain this autumn. Oh, by the way, I don't think I've announced it on any of my videos, but my Spain workshop did fill up for this October, which I'm very excited for. And I was looking at the photos of the venue again, and I really think I'm going to make an earthy palette to bring just for fun, along with my gouache and stuff. Sorry, let me just catch up on chat. Interesting choice for Naples yellow. Is it? I don't have a lot of Naples colors, Naples yellow colors. What are a lot of brands usually using? That happened with all your Turner gouache. It was a set, had to toothpick every tube. Oh man. I have had that happen with so many random brands and colors over the years that I'm used to it now, but it was just like startling when I first open I forgot which color was the first one, but it was like everywhere. It's always startling though. Just struggle and suffer till it opens. Oh, Wildflower, thank you for that. Kitty treats. Oh, give them some licky licks. Their absolute favorite. They'll go nuts. They go nuts for it. Rachel says, hi, I'm turning 4 on my birthday. Rachel, you're such a big girl. Wow. Have you picked out your birthday outfit yet? Next we have quinacridone magenta. Ooh, yeah. This one is a little bit more, it almost reminds me of quinacridone violet from Daniel Smith. I don't know if the camera's picking that. It's probably not showing on the camera as much in real life, but it's like a deeper pinkish violet pink. I mean, it's definitely still vibrant, but batten down the hatches. Yeah, that's what my dad always used to say. Hurricane a-coming. Although it's not a hurricane, it's just an intense storm. Used to hate burnt sienna. One of the first times I ever deviated from a like red, yellow, blue typical like ultramarine, the typical primary set you get. I tried adding burnt sienna instead of my red, and it blew my mind, like the mixes I could make with it. I think it was Schminke back then. Maybe even Sennelier, if I go back far enough. Oh, I forgot to label these, although they're kind of obvious. Although, I don't want to smudge it. This song is like... Oops. My super messy handwriting. PR 101. I should have started out from this side so I could write without messing it up. Hello, Alex. Also, I don't know if I said hi, but hi, Kaya. Siennas and umbers. Yeah, I think between all of my sets, I have quite a lot of fun stuff. Fun, earthy tones to play with. Hi, Heiko. So soon. You get to visit. It's going to be so fun. Quin Rose is yummy. Are you their Quin Roses, like as in Jackman's Quin Rose, or the Daniel Smith one? What do we do next? Do I do the granulating ones? I actually don't think I put the granulating ones in this palette except for the Petal Shadow. So I'll hold off on those just for now. And we'll do the rest of these. I guess I'll just do the Petal Shadow because I kept talking about it. Ow. Oopsie, that was a bit of binder separation. This is why I shouldn't do it like this. Okay, we are gonna just do it from the pan. That was the first time that happened with that one. But I have it here, and I know exactly which one it is because it's pretty obvious. It's the only one that has like two colors on it when it dries. And sorry, make sure it's on the screen. This one definitely needs a lot of yummy, juicy brush strokes to get the pigment separation. So you gotta, when you add more water to it, it becomes more pink. And then in the heavier section, the blue pigment settles down and you get that kind of duotone effect. So it is so much fun to play with, especially for skies, actually for everything. I love mixing it with stuff. I just don't, I haven't tried mixing it with a lot of greens yet, but I'm getting there. I think that would be fun to play with. I need this color. I don't, but I do. I always think of burnt sienna more of a brown. No, Jan, that's actually, it is a brown. But because it is so red leaning that you can actually use it as a red in your limited palette and get really interesting mixes. You'll not be able to mix purple though. Like, well, I don't know, maybe if you mixed it with like a phthalo, no, you wouldn't be able to get purple with it. So it's limited, but that is kind of the point why I would use it, is to make a very earthy, muted palette and lean into that mood in the painting, you know? All right, I will label those after. It's just I don't want to smudge those, and those are pretty obvious, so I'm not gonna like forget. But I will do the blues on a separate page and do from the left to the right because I don't want to smudge that. Pretty mixed with a yellow to make an interesting green. Yeah, I'll try it with those and see how that goes. I do have one green. It's a Paraline green, so kind of a blackish green. And it's pretty obvious which one it is in the palette too, so I probably could just swatch it from that. Oops. It's the only green in the palette, actually. And also, this is a great way to test how the paint's re-wet if they've been sitting here for a long time. So, you know, well, now I know, like, I'll be able to put them in a palette and just kind of leave it and not worry too much. I really like this version of Perylene Green. I've tried a few over the years. I think Daniel Smith, Schminke, Winsor Newton, and maybe I should, if I have those tubes, and I'll dig them out and maybe do like a side-by-side comparison and share that maybe on my Discord or my Instagram stories or something, because yeah, they've all got slightly different tints and sometimes are more intense than others. Don't know if I should leave that. I'll just leave that though. Okay. Yeah, let's get the second piece of paper because I'll go from the left to the right. Should have done that. Nobody can cook umber or sienna right. They're always raw or burnt. Ha 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 ha. Wolfie has he has showed me a little, like, maybe it's not a meme, but you know, a photo of someone cooking, and it says that it's like, why can't anyone cook umbers? They're always burnt or raw. He has shown me that like 3 different times in our life together, and each time he thinks it's the first time, and he's always so proud of himself. And I'm proud of him too, because it's an art joke and I love it. Okay, let's set that over here and then we'll get the next one started. Actually, I'll just use, will that be enough for 3 blues? And that too, maybe? I think they're the same size, almost. And then I'll use that one for gouache. These are just my, actually that's a different type of paper, is it? No, it's not. You crazy. Nice green blackish shade, yes. Perylene Black Fan Club, yep. It's a great color. I think I mentioned before that for so long I was obsessed with Perylene Green and always kind of fell back. I relied on it so much, and it just felt, after a while, I realized I was using it too much, and I was relying on it too much. So all of my paintings started to look the same, or the colors look, the palettes look the same, the mood looked the same, and I'm like, okay, I just had to take it off my palette completely for a while to get out of that mindset, but now it's coming back and I'm loving it. But at least now I have a better understanding of mixing, and I don't like just rely on the one pre-mixed green that's in my palette. Next, we're going to do French Ultramarine. And these are the ones I'll have to swatch and like figure out. I have no idea which are which in here, so, because I have lavender actually is obvious, but these two look, I think, similar. Well, I'm thinking that one's ultramarine, but I don't know if that's the gouache or that's the gouache. That's the problem. You like yellow ochre better than most raw siennas. Yeah, I love yellow ochre. I actually don't think I've tried a lot of raws, like raw umber, raw sienna. Oops, squeezed a bit too much out there. Come on down, blue. And this one is PB29, of course. I didn't leave much room for myself to label it. I'll do it down here. It's actually French ultramarine. Is that the one that's more or less granulating than ultramarine? I can never remember. I don't think I have much French ultramarine, actually. I think my Daniel Smith is just regular. There's such a huge variety in all the ochres. Yeah, that's true. I've noticed that with between the different brands I've had, they vary quite widely. I probably should do a big comparison before I settle on one. I probably don't even know half of what's out there and I'm missing out. Ooh, that's lovely. I don't think I like this one as much as my Phthalo Turquoise from Daniel Smith, but it is really pretty. This is Phthalo Blue, green shade. PB 15-3. French is usually more granulating. Okay. Because it's extra, extra. Yeah. Is your palette mixed gouache and watercolors? Yeah, this one is. I just wanted to keep all of my Jackmans in one spot while I was away, so I put it all in here, which is why we have to do this today because I don't know which is which. I can kind of guess some of them, but yeah, I was like, oops, I didn't label anything or make a swatch cheat sheet. That was silly. Let's see. PHTH. Blue green shade, and that's PB 15-3. Next is lavender, one of my favorite colors now, which again, I know which one it is in the palette, so I can just do it from there. Sorry that this palette is so squeaky. I don't know why. It's a plastic palette, but yeah, the hinges are very squeaky. Ooh, look how opaque that is. For a second, I'm like, wait, is that my gouache? But no, it's watercolor. Let's tilt it slightly down. Let it flow. I mean, it is usually opaque, but that one started out quite opaque. PW6, which isn't that zinc white, PB29, and PV15. Oops, forgot the D. Lavender. Okay. Did I miss a question? You could tell it was phthalo right from the start. Oh yeah. It's crazy how bright that is. Look at that side by side. That looks more like lavender and side by side. Oh, I saw the funniest video the other day. Instagram, I think. The artist was like painting and they did that thing where you like rub your elbow on the edge of your palette and you're like, oh no, it's some phthalo blue, and they like wipe it off, and as they wipe it, their whole arm is covered in phthalo, and they're like, what? So they like try to wipe their hand on their shirt, and their whole shirt's covered in like clip after clip. They keep like rubbing it off, and eventually their whole body is covered in phthalo, and it's like the physics of phthalo. It's so ridiculous how that happens, and that, I swear, it's true. Phthalo. And when I used to use oil paint a lot, Viridian would get everywhere. I swear there was one time I wasn't even painting with Viridian, and I went back to my car and started packing up, and there was just Viridian smeared on everything in the back of the car. On my stuff, not the car itself, but it was just like, how? Is that one dry yet? Almost. It's fine. So there we have the family. And the family of watercolors that I have by them. Well, and I do have these little granulating ones, which maybe I'll do on this page. I think I did put a couple of those in the palette. So we'll see. Where is my brush? Oh no, I was going to label those really quick. When you're filling the pans, yes, I do that too. It's so annoying. Quin Magenta. This one's PR122. And then Petal Shadow. Which is, surprisingly, this one is PY3, PB35, and PR122. I swore this had Potter's Pink in it when I first tried it. I was like, whoa, it looks like kind of that effect of ultramarine and Potter's Pink that I love when I do like tree trunks and shadowy things. But no, can't believe it. It's like they're pulling my leg. Pear Y Lean Black PBK 31. Okay, there's the watercolor family. It's a nice rounded selection. I probably will end up wanting to try their burnt umber because that's one of my favorite browns. Next we will, let me do their granulating ones. Except I won't do the Terra Verte because that one is literally invisible. Like, don't even bother. So let's test these. What is on my hand? Ugh, sake. I think it's Perylene Green. Luckily. It's not Phthalo. Yeah, it's Perylene Green. I must have that somewhere. I don't know. Let's see. What did I miss? There's a yellow in there, right? I'm like, what? No, there's not. It must be the tiniest amount of it. I don't know. Hey, are your travel brushes coming out again soon? Well, soon, I'm not sure how soon, but yes. We are doing a second edition, which are different than the first edition. That one is now a collector's edition. This is the new set, and they look different. You can see there's a kind of middle area here. They are nickel free because I had so many people asking about that. I had no idea it was a thing, and I asked, is this possible? Apparently a lot of travel brushes, or most travel brushes, have nickel in them. So yeah, we researched it and found a source and they did it. So that's cool. And I just approved the box art, so the boxes are going to production, and I think the brushes are pretty much done. Don't quote me on that, but I will make an announcement separately about that. We'll do a thing about it, but they're in the works. It just takes a while. Okay, let's do the little deep sea green, which I think a lot of companies have a color called this. I actually don't know if I can get any more out of this tube. I might struggle. Let's just try to... I have a... oh, actually, I found my pliers. Marabou paint. I don't know anything about Marabou. This is gonna be a disaster. I'm gonna squeeze it as hard as I can and see what happens. Okay, no, we're good. Oh, I forgot about this one. It doesn't really look green. It looks like almost like Soda Light Genuine, but with a hint of green. Let's try to drag that down. That's cool. I completely forgot about this one. That with a bit of phthalo and a bit of perylene green splashed into it, like you could do a really kind of deep sea, seaweedy section of your coast with that underneath your rocks or something. Ooh, yeah, I like that. It's kind of, now the green's coming out a bit more. So I think in the more diluted part, you'll get more of the green. Let's do a bit of just, yeah. I'm really glad that didn't go absolutely everywhere. These are the two that I absolutely cannot tell apart when they're dried, because this next one is Summer Clouds, or these are the two I can't tell apart in the palette. So that's Petal Shadow, and these two are these two. So no clue. That's why we have to do this. So that was Deep Sea Green on the left. Keep that in mind, everyone. Toothpick. No, I just, you know, get the pliers and go with it. See what happens. You don't have to, like, I'm realizing I don't have to squeeze that hard, so. But I did splash a little bit there. Contamination. It's fine. I think this will be different enough. Yeah, it's like a little more muted. Slightly. Less green leaning. I think it's just a granulating blue. It's called Summer Clouds. We'll see how that dries. PB72. What the heck is that? Okay, so I didn't leave much room. All right. Summer Clouds. I'll just write the name, and then maybe once it dries I'll write the pigment numbers in that part. Okay, so just for anyone's curiosity, Deep Sea Green is PBK11, PB72, and PG7. And this one, Summer Clouds, is PB72, PY3, and PV19. And now I actually can see a hint of pink in there. But then the rest of it is quite kind of like a grayish blue or something. Never heard of PB72. Yeah, cobalt blue, but darker. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard of that before. Well, I feel like any of these specialty colors in any brand, if you're planning on using them like in the long run, especially for art you're selling, you probably want to do light fast tests for. Because I've just noticed, like, especially the Daniel Smith ones that are the super weird, funky specialty ones are not quite as light fast. And a lot of brands are, that's similar. So, you know, for your own sake, maybe look into that. But I'm just doing these for fun. Okay. Yeah, the lighter part of the deep sea green is definitely the green part. That's really cool. And because it's so granulating, you could really play with that effect, that underwater effect. Could be really fun. And then the Sahara is Roman Schmal. Oh, that's the brand that I haven't really looked into much of, but I know it's getting hugely popular. I think Sketches and Scrubs uses that a lot. And I think they have like swatching videos maybe, and you can see it all the juicy goodness up close. So this is Sahara. Another one that's pretty obvious in the palette. In this palette at least, because I'd only have like 2 browns. So what is that? That's probably, so that's PR233, PBR7, and PY43. It looks like kind of a browner version of my ochre. Maybe that's more of a raw. Sahara. But that's granulating for sure. She has every single one of them. Wow. You love them. All right. So that's all the watercolors now. Between all of those, I mean, these are just bonuses. Like the granulating ones are just bonuses for fun. But yeah, there's like, you could definitely get pretty much any mix you want between all of these. I'll probably end up doing a scan and sharing that somewhere, somehow. Maybe just on Instagram, I don't know. But next we're going to swatch the gouache, and I'm a little nervous because, yeah, the tube, the binder separation thing. And then after all of, oops, sorry, I just hit the mic. Hope I didn't make your ears bleed. After all the swatching like this, then I'll swatch these and I'll match, and I'll make a cheat sheet so I know exactly what is what in here, because I'll probably just keep this as my Jackman's palette just to use whenever I feel like experimenting. I don't use this palette for anything else anymore, so I thought it was kind of good. They all fit in here. I have room for a few more. I think I was going to put white in that one, but yeah. Finally, the mystery will be solved. Is that burnt sienna? And on the sheet of perylene green. Yes, that's burnt sienna. Really pretty. Okay, so those will go over there for now. Just putting them on my keyboard. Next, we have a, how many tubes do we have? Let's figure that out first. We have, see if I can fit it on here. A few. I probably can fit them all on this if I'm careful. Oh, I won't be swatching white. So yeah, that'll work. I only have one blue. So let's see, what order do we want? Probably buff titanium first, and then I'll do the two earthy ones, and then I'll do the two intense ones, and then we'll do the red, magenta, ultramarine. Yeah. And I will do left to right. And also we need a opacity swatch. Okay. Hello, Rinsk. So nowadays, what are the big brands? Winsor Newton of watercolor. Winsor Newton, Sennelier, Daniel Smith, M. Graham. Is Roman Schmal considered a big one? I mean, I guess it depends what country you're in. This is probably a silly question. Oh, Michael Harding. I have heard of that quite a lot lately. Glowing earth tone, perfect for Spain. Ooh. Okay, let me write that down. How fun would it be to make like a little Spain palette? Michael Harding. What is that? Cinquesa? Cinquesa? Okay. Anyone else have any amazing earthy color suggestions? Let me know. I might order some like sample tubes of things before I go to Spain and just bring them for fun. Oh, and this is not quite related, but it is related to workshops. Next year in October, I am teaching a gouache workshop in Provence, and we're going to an ochre mine, so we get to see it, the source, and I'm so excited. So I'm definitely gonna buy some when I'm there and bring that back. So I'll have like my French earthy palette, and I'll have my maybe a Spanish earthy palette. That'll be really fun. Okay. Let's set that over here. If anyone has any other earthy suggestions for colors for me to check out, let me know. I'll write them down. Hello, Adi. I think I caught up with everything. You just ordered Potter's Pink? Yes. So, buff titanium. Okay, actually, before we open these, let's get a paper towel because it might squeeze everywhere. A little nervous. I did keep them in the drawer in the dark, horizontal, and we did have like a heat spell lately, but that's no different than any other year in the UK. You've been using some Jackmans for a few years. They pack a juicy punch for something so reasonably priced. Yeah, that's another reason I wanted to keep looking into it, because it's much more reasonably priced than Daniel Smith where I live. Daniel Smith is super expensive here, so, and maybe it is everywhere, I don't know, but I love it. It's just very painful sometimes when I reorder my stuff. So we'll see. Yeah, this one's okay. Buff Titanium is a little more stiff and behaves well. Oh yeah, look at that. Super opaque. It's what you want. And I will dilute them just a hint. Just kind of drag them down. Actually, I should change my water. I think I might end up contaminating the color. Wolfie, are you listening? I would love it if you came and refilled my water for me, so I didn't have to leave. Oh, oh, I didn't write that it's called maroon. Maroon, okay. It's expensive everywhere. Yeah, but it's so good. It's like one of the most reliable I've ever tried. And I love the color selection. There's a pigment museum thing, I think. Oh. Yay. Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted by this song. It's like so intense. I don't know if Wolfie heard me. Wolfie? Are you here? Are you here? Can you come refill my water for me, pretty please? So I don't have to leave? Little... Oh no, Jen, I can't do that. Oh, it's a kitten. I'll trade you. Hi, kitten. Okay. Yeah, you take that carefully. And I'll take this beautiful little boy who's gonna get paint on all my stuff. And now... You're so big now. Look at how big you are. You don't need to see the vacuum cleaner. Is this a silly song for you, little boy? I think it is. It's a silly Akira song. Yes, it is. We're gonna skip it though. It's a bit too weird. A bit too weird. Yeah. Nom, 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 nom. He's quite heavy with one hand. He loves his brushies though. Thank you so much. You're a savior of the stream. Look at him. Everyone says hi in the chat.
Hi, everyone.
We're just having a little kitten intermission. Yes. This is seriously a workout. My hand, oop, almost spilled my water. What is it? It's Waters. He always tries to drink my paint water, so I have to really strictly watch him when he's in here. Not good. I have to forbid you from going near the desk. Okay. Everyone says hi, little boy. They all love you. They love you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why don't you just stream for me? Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. Ashley, I smell him constantly, like smell his head. It's with all my cats, I sniff their heads constantly because they smell so good. Something amazing about it. And really weirdly, when Akira bathes himself, or even if I like, if he gets wet when he's outside, when it rains on him or whatever, if his fur is wet, he smells like baked goods. He smells like a bakery. And I'm just like, and I just sniff him so much. Okay. There we go. Now everything's back to normal. Chat's back. Thank you, Wolfie. He's so nice. He's so helpful. And now I won't have contaminated swatches. So, where were we? Buff Titanium, which is PW61. Big loud purrs, important points well considered. Wolfie would have stayed longer, but he is playing a video game, so that's why he was so brief. And I'm sure he'll be telling me later that I interrupted a very important moment in the video game. But I have already started dinner. It's in a crock pot, so that I automatically get points for that. Ooh, I forgot how lovely this one is. It's a very golden, so yeah, yellow ochre. It's quite opaque. Leans kind of towards orange, I would say. Oops. But in the diluted section, it is a nice sunny kind of golden color. It's really pretty. That one is PY42. Oh, let's label these as I go. How's the outside walking for Akira? Was he wandering alone or not yet? No, he doesn't go alone. Well, when he's in our courtyard, he can wander and do whatever he wants, but we take him out of, when we go out of the courtyard, he's on a lead, and he freaking loves it. Like, he loves walking, he loves people, he loves dogs. I mean, when he sees another dog, he'll like shrink down to be invisible, but then if they kind of like walk by and they're not aggressive, which a lot of dogs around here I would say aren't, they're very chill, he walks right up to them and wants to sniff them and like say hello. It's so funny. Whereas Floki is like he absolutely won't have that. But yeah, Akira is so social, which is a little bit of a fear of ours. Like, if we ever did let him out, first of all, we would never let him out on his own in a in a populated area like this. Maybe if we lived in the middle of nowhere, if my heart could handle it. But we're a little afraid with how social he is. He'll literally walk into someone's house and then they'll see how cute he is and never let him go. Also, he'll go near things he shouldn't go near. Do this one next. Actually, wait. Should I do the... Let's stick with my plan. We'll do the lemon yellow next. PW61. And this is PY42. Or you'll never get my orders fulfilled again. Oh. No. I do have a bell that I used to use for them for dinner time. Not Wolfie, the cats. Did I miss something? A question? He'd live with 3 separate families. He'd get fed so much. Oh, he would. He would be such a cheater. And actually, Floki, our neighbor said one time she woke up and Floki was on the end of her bed. And as soon as she kind of woke up and sat up, he bolted and ran out of the house. But I thought that was hilarious. Like, Floki is very loyal and like religiously comes home. He stays inside all night. But he'll go out, come home, go out, come home, and he constantly just like goes and eats and goes and eats. So it was probably an early morning. He left. I let him out, and he like went in. They have cats or did. But their cat flap isn't chip activated. It's just a cat. It just opens and shuts on its if you go in and out. So yeah, he obviously realized that, and he spends a lot of time in their garden. So I'm sure he scoped it out first. Okay, yeah, this is one that was pretty transparent, but that's actually pretty normal for these intense yellows. These kind of Hansa yellows, I've noticed. Lemon yellow and Hansa yellow can be quite transparent. But that means they're good mixers, so they'll mix a really strong, punchy green. This is PY3. We had a neighborhood cat who apparently lived in this house once long ago, and a few other houses around here, because I guess the owners like moved a bunch. This is a rental, by the way. And that cat, before they passed away, would always try to come in the cat flap, and she would hang out in our courtyard and in our side garden, and we'd see her walking all over the neighborhood. So I'm pretty sure she got a lot of pets and food and attention like everywhere. Oh wait, I almost tried to swatch it again. Pay attention. And her name was Poppy, and she was the loudest meower I've ever met. And you'd just be hanging out, gardening, or doing your thing outside, and all of a sudden, from nowhere, she would just be like, "Wow!" And she was kind of deaf, I think, so she didn't realize how loud she was, but so she was just trying to be heard and wanted pets. It would always scare the crap out of me. PY3. This one's cadmium yellow. This next one. So far, like, I won't jinx it yet. Oh yeah, I see a bit of separation there. Okay. Yeah, so far these tubes have been fine. I think it was just maybe the initial transportation or whatever to get to me. They obviously needed a stir, but now that I've stirred them once and used them and just had them in my drawer, they're pretty much fine. But if you ever get that separation, this is what I do. I just stick a toothpick in and really like try to stick it in as far as it can go without losing it. And then I kind of tilt it back and forth and let it glide through the stuff inside. And then, yeah, usually there's plenty on the toothpick itself to swatch from. Or if you're pouring it into a pan, obviously that you just pour it straight in from there. This one isn't super opaque. But again, it's a pretty strong yellow, so it's probably a pretty good mixer. I haven't really tested the mixes yet, so that'll be fun. And yeah, usually like I'll use a palette knife. If I poured it into a pan, I'll use a palette knife and just scrape off all that excess and use it. Otherwise, if you ever get a really bad separation, which I've had in various brands over the years, there's the Shinhan metallics are terrible for this. I don't know if all metallics are like this, like gouache metallics, but it just constantly separates the binder and the pigment. So what I did was I bought these little sealable art cups, and they have like, they're little plastic cups and they have lids that go on like super tight. And I used to use them for glues and other crafty things, but I bought a bunch of those and I pour the whole tube into it, and then it's really easy to mix up with a palette knife or a toothpick or whatever I need, and then I just paint directly from the little art cup. So that's my solution if they're super separated. It's not perfect, but it works. That is a super sunny color. Pearlescent shimmer separates too. Yeah, I don't know if it's because the pigments in the metallic ones are so heavy they have to be heavier and bigger or something to get them to do the metallic thing. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I pretend like I know things, but. Next we have oh, sorry. I'll do this one and then we'll do the labels for those two before we move on. All right. This one looks okay, I think. It's a little liquidy though. Actually, it's quite liquidy, but it's such a pretty mixing red. Like I very rarely need red on its own. So I don't care what it really looks like on its own, to be honest. But if you want an opaque red, this definitely wouldn't be it. This one wouldn't be it. I don't know. I haven't really compared my reds side by side to see which one is the most opaque of the bright ones. Probably a cadmium red would be would be at least more opaque. Okay, label, before we forget. Poppy jump scare, yeah. Turned up whenever it was open and demand dreamies. Yeah. Poppy was probably demanding dreamies too, but I don't give cats I don't own treats or anything because I never know what their dietary issues are and I wouldn't want to cause anything. I pet them and I sometimes brush them and I de-tick them and I do all those things, but I don't give them any food of any kind. It's a good rule of thumb. Oops. Cadmium yellow. I typically don't use a lot of cads. I avoid them, but I'm glad they sent these to like try them because it's a common color for people. Pyrrole. My gosh. I constantly leave letters out when I'm labeling. And it's only when I'm doing swatches, pretty much. PR254. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but the cadmium yellow is PY37. Okay, last one is the French ultramarine. Ooh, looks okay. We'll see. Yeah, looks like paint. Not binder. Wait. Oh yeah, it is the gouache. It's quite transparent. Maybe that is a bit of binder at the top. I don't know. Let's mix it just in case. Just in case. So we get a fair swatch. Oops, that's gonna be messy. I'll just swatch from, oops. Oh my God. I have way too much. No, I think in general it's just a little bit more transparent than what I'm used to, but that's might be something you want. Who knows? We'll see how that dries. I don't know if I have too much on there. I think it's okay. I try to avoid having too much like getting the gouache too thick in the swatch because then it'll dry like shiny in the mass tone. That is very messy. All right. I don't think I've seen a French ultramarine gouache before. Maybe I just didn't order them, but missed one red. Oh no. It's all ruined. Stream over. Table flipped. Oh man. Well, it's okay. I'm gonna cut these out and they're gonna be little strips. They're not gonna live in this order. No. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. The world keeps spinning. You are not dead. Everything is fine. There is soup. PB29. It's fine. At least it wasn't phthalo blue and then it got everywhere. What happened? Nothing. Nothing actually happened except that I messed up my order. It was all planned out. It was all going so well. We were so close. But honestly, I think in every single fancy swatch chart I've ever tried to make, I've made a mistake like that. Like something is out of order, so I should be used to it. This one's, again, a little bit transparent. You always have to keep in mind when you're doing swatches like these, like you very rarely use a single color on its own in a painting. Sometimes for certain things, yes, but just because the pigment behaves a certain way in the single swatch doesn't mean it's going to behave that way on the painting, because a lot of times you're adding white or combining multiple colors together and the opacity builds up. Like there's so many variations in the painting that I feel like it's much more useful to do like a color mixing chart or color mixing sheet of some kind to really get a feel for them. But at least this gives you an idea of what they look like raw, and yeah, you never know if you're gonna need it raw. Quin Magenta. I'm not a perfectionist, but stuff like that annoys me. Like it just, oh. PR122. But again, I'm going to cut them out. They're going to be little strips that because a lot of times when I pick a palette to play with, I'll like look through my little cards and pick out a few cards and put them together and see if I like them together. All right, so those are the colors I have, the gouache ones, and you can actually do a lot with these colors. I've barely tested them, but I already know just from experience, like with other brands, this is a really good mixing yellow. These both are actually really good mixing reds. Ultramarine is not the brightest blue mixer. Like if you want a super intense green, like a neon green, you might struggle a little bit, but if you mix it with the lemon yellow, you'll get closer. But if you really want an intense pop lime green kind of color, you'll probably need a phthalo of some kind. But yeah, like this is a lot, like you can get a lot out of just this selection. If you want to go even more limited, get rid of one of these reds, maybe even one of the yellows, but like I love having a more cool and a more warm yellow on my palettes nowadays. Maybe replace one of the reds with a phthalo blue, and then you'll have like all the variety you could ever want in a mixing set. I mean, even these are like bonus, but those are really fun for mixing more earthy tones and more muted palettes, especially if you're doing landscapes. They are really, really handy. Maybe replace yellow ochre with a burnt umber. That's kind of what I usually do. All right, did I label everything? Yes. So now is put the detective hats on, because we have to figure out what all these are. Obviously that one's buff titanium. These are the super granulating colors. And I don't know which one is summer clouds and which one is deep sea green. Ooh, look how that dried. I don't know if the camera really shows it well, but really pretty in person. These are way too transparent to be gouache. Am I missing something? Yeah, they are. I would say they're quite transparent. So I would probably only use this set for dried gouache when I'm using it more like watercolor, or when I know I'm gonna mix like white into it. It won't really matter how transparent those are. So for like a bit more of a muted mix, those can be transparent. It doesn't matter. You're gonna be using buff titanium, or you're gonna be using titanium white to mix in. Maybe even burnt umber or yellow ochre kind of thing. And then those are the opacity holders, and these just tint it down to something. Does that make sense? But compared to my other, I can already see these are much more transparent than a lot of my other gouache. But that's why we have to do this, to test it out. Otherwise, we have no idea. But honestly, some of my favorite brands, even ones I use frequently, like the pink, the quinacridone magenta, the yellows, they're very transparent. But again, you don't ever use those specific colors on their own, like very rarely. So if you have one or two transparent ones and the rest are more opaque, it's fine. So maybe if you can like buy one or two of these to save some money, and then use your fancy other opaque gouache like Schminke. Oh, Schminke is just so luxurious. And then mix and match kind of thing. So you can, although, well, yeah, Schminke here is really expensive. Maybe it's not for everyone, but if you're trying to save money, maybe buy like some colors from Schminke, some colors from a different brand that are more affordable. Looks like crimson than magenta. It kind of reminds, it's like it looks similar to that, where to me it looks more like a rose. But again, every brand is going to be different. When I used to watch the comparison videos by Dr. Otto Kano, it blew my mind how different some of the quinacridones out there are, the magentas. I mean, that's honestly with all of their swatching comparisons I was always like, whoa, sometimes PB29 or something will be so different across brands. And I don't know, it just depends, maybe their source, or if they mix anything differently into it. Some differences between monitors as well. Sorry, but did I miss a question? Some interesting color separation in the bottom of the blue swatch. Is that, is it single pigment? And which one are you talking about? This one? I don't see any color difference between that and that. It's mostly just the value difference. So it might be the monitor. This one does. These two have they're like duotone. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the monitor gives off the impression that this has a duotone effect, but it definitely doesn't in person. Yeah, isn't it fun, Jacqueline? I love it. Is the Jackmans better or worse than Cotmans? I have only ever tried Cotmans watercolors, and Jackman's watercolors are definitely nicer than those. Because I remember the Cotmans, I could never quite get pigmented enough as much as I wanted. They're great to start out. That is the colors, that's the palette I started with as a watercolorist way back in the day, and it was great for me. So I won't put it down at all. But at a certain point I got to I just realized like I need professional watercolors. I need the punch. I need the color. And I think that back then I went to our store and I saw my first wall of Sennelier colors, and I bought a ton of them. And I was just like in heaven. But way cheaper to buy the tubes. Of course, yeah. You get a lot in the tubes. I've not tried Rosa. Yeah. Okay. Let's swatch these ones and figure out what is in here. What have I done? So that's summer, that's Petal Shadow for sure. So this one is probably deep sea green. Okay. So next, compare that side. Oh wait, no, that's deep sea green. That must be deep sea green. What? They look so different. Okay. So yeah, actually, now that that's starting to settle, that's that one, that one's that one. So what we have to do next is make a cheat sheet for this palette that I will tape to the outside so I know exactly what is what, where it is, and all that. Ah, that makes sense, Amy. Yeah, that definitely makes sense now that I've seen them. The Jackmans, I got some of them directly from Jackman's website, and I think actually Jackson's Art sells them as well. Oh, Floki's home. Akira, do you see him? Do you see him here? He sits on the railing outside my door and hits the handle and tries to get in. Hi, Floki. And also Floki came home. All the babies are here. Until the pans fall out and you have no idea what is what. Yeah. No, I used sticky tack, so they're in there. What was I need this. I need scissors. Nope, it's a UK company. Let's... And I do have a link for a discount if anyone wants to try it. Especially the watercolors I'm really liking. Still have to do some tests and comparisons, but there we go. Don't want it to drip everywhere and get all over. Oh wait, I need this. Manufacturing watercolor. Yeah, I don't know how many like handmade. They're definitely handmade brands, but his seems to be the biggest company from what I can find at least, and very affordable. So we're gonna do the swatches. I'll take this pan out because I was gonna put white in there, but I probably won't. If I'm using white, I'll just use a tube. There. Now we will do a little swatch to show. I probably will come back in and refill some of these to fill in the cracks because I find that helps it stay in place better. Like if you're not using it for a while and it sits there, it will shrink and crack, and if you refill it a couple times and kind of pack the pigment into it, it's less likely to crumble out. I've done that with all my dried palettes so far and it's worked really well. It's not a guarantee, obviously, but it definitely helps. All right. I put these ones down here because I think these are the watercolors. I think I actually did this as the watercolor row, and these are the gouache. Maybe that's what I did. I don't know. Nobody knows what I did. Least of all me. Also, this paper is like hot press, I think. Not the best for swatching, but oh well. We'll just go with it. And I will put little abbreviations so I remember what each one is. That's part of this decoding. I seem to remember the Sahara doesn't love to be re-wet, but we'll try it. I guess that's okay. Okay, so now let's make a little note. So that one, no, petal. That one was that one, right? The summer clouds. Summer. Deep sea, and that's Sahara. I just use abbreviations when I write on these or make these little tiny cheat sheets. Okay, we've got those figured out now. Next, I think I'll try these ones, the gouache ones. Let me make sure I didn't miss any questions. Oh, I just remembered earlier I asked what are the main brands, and then I forgot to check chat. If anyone listed them, I'm sorry. Thank you for that effort. I usually go back after and read the chat and like skim through and see what I missed, but have you done both the gouache and the watercolors? Planning on buying this buff titanium, but only just joined the live. Don't know what conclusions you've drawn. Well, I haven't painted a painting with them yet. I've done little swatches of each one. The buff looks like that on the left. Is there anything else you want to see? I did all the watercolors as well. So these are the watercolors. And then the granulating ones I was just testing. So those are a lot of fun. All right. What was I? Oh, gouache. Yeah. Oop. Next, I'm pretty sure these are the gouache. Which, as many of you know, I often use gouache dried in a palette like this. The only tricky thing is, or not tricky, but like, I prefer gouache that is super opaque when I do that, because when you reactivate it, you're automatically adding a tiny bit of water. So I typically want those colors to be more opaque. So I don't know if I'll use this gouache as a dried palette much, but I wanted to test it and see how it reactivated. And it's completely fine reactivating really nicely, which is good. Oh, I'm not gonna run out of room. I always make my swatches the wrong size. So yeah, these are definitely the gouache. I can tell now. I sort of organized it, but that one looks straight up like watercolor though. And these ones will all be the watercolor. And then the granulating ones on the left. Now it all makes sense. What are your thoughts on the gouache from initial swatching? Gotta try out the watercolors, but not the gouache, and some really good granulating watercolor. Yeah. Again, I haven't painted a painting with the gouache yet, but just from swatching it, we were talking about how it is quite transparent. The colors are really, really strong and really, really, I felt like the consistency is creamy, a little bit liquidy. But someone in chat was saying that they don't use opacifiers. They just use like they really pack in the pigment. So that's probably why. It's going to behave very differently than a lot of other gouache, I think. So some of the colors are definitely more opaque than others. It will just be a matter of trying a few and see if you like it. Now I'm swatching the watercolors again, just so we have the reference. I'm really liking this little palette I put together though, the watercolor palette. Just to have something different to play with once in a while. I'm always putting together little experimental palettes. Usually every few weeks I take it out and play with it. Just change it up a bit. It gets me thinking differently. Instead of using the same exact like 12 colors all the time, I really think this helps me see colored, maybe more, see the subtleties of it and learn more about mixing. So yeah, that's why I do this. And I have like 6 little palettes. They're all different brands and shapes and sizes, but usually kind of changing it up each year, trying different setups. They all reactivate beautifully, as you can see. Like I am not struggling to, I'm not having to really grind my brush in and like struggle to get the pigment. That's really, really good to know. Some might depend on the color, it might depend on the pigments and stuff too, but so far the ones that I chose at least are really, really good. Even the Sahara, which I thought was going to be harder to reactivate, wasn't bad. Like it just dried so hard that I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those. But it's like, I really like these together, I think. These are similar. I would probably go with the deep sea green because it's got a little bit more variety in it. It's a really pretty color. But yeah, I'll have to let that dry now before I label it. But now that I know what this is the gouache. This is the gouache. These are the watercolors. Now I know, and that makes more sense. What I should probably do is just put the gouache. I should probably put the gouache all down one row. Because I only have, wait. Am I missing a color? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. White. Okay, no. I was just confused. Do you play with them outside or in the studio? Both. Do you use granulating paints often in your works? If I remember correctly, you use dry brush a lot for texture, and beautifully does it clash with granulation. So in watercolor, I use a ton of granulation now. It's one of my favorite things to play with. I feel like I'm still getting the hang of how to use it effectively because it does draw attention. So I find myself using it a lot to draw attention to a certain type of surface, like a rock surface, or if you can see down into the water and I want it to be all kind of abstract looking, that's a really fun place to play with granulation. And I do also love dry brush effect. I use dry brush effect more for gouache, I would say. And I don't have a ton of granulating gouache colors, and I tend to use gouache more, like the final look of it will be more, using it more opaque anyway. So the granulation doesn't always come into play with that, but I'll always be happy with granulation, honestly. I love it. If I'm watering down the gouache and like getting a wet layer and then working my way on top of that, then maybe the granulation will show through a little bit, and that's really fun to play with all the time. So I like to have a little of everything just to play. I'm always kind of figuring or trying to, I guess play with that, the bridge between abstract and real, where you make something look like a thing, but within that thing, there's a lot of fun abstraction going on. Maybe a field of flowers or a field of grass or something. It's obvious that it's a field, but within it, you can get lost in the granulation or in the different flowy effects and the dry brush textures and all of that. Okay. So let's do a little mixing just to end on a fun note. And I just want to tilt that down a little. Ooh, I'll use this other side of this one. It is sort of hot press, which I don't love, but we'll go with it. Separate palettes might help out there. Yeah, I like having these little palettes, just grab and go, try something different once in a while, especially when I'm doing, like going on quick excursions. Those little metal palettes are great because you can put magnets on the back of the pans and just change out the colors really fast, really easily. I have a few of those going. Oh, actually, I'll show you what I did. One moment. Okay, so we're detouring slightly, just for a second. Okay, there's a lot of palettes going on right now on my desk. These are all my watercolors, basically. So what I do is usually I have a set palette that I use 90% of the time. Like this is my my core colors, I like to call them. And so I use this most of the time throughout the year. And I really get used to the colors and I learn how to mix them, and it just gives me a deeper understanding of the colors. And then by the end of like 6 months to a year, depending how long I've used them, by then I really know like which ones I love and which ones I'm like, I could live without that. Because I usually fall in love with one and use it constantly, and yeah, it becomes one of my like core colors. So eventually I have all these pans in here and I take them out. And I usually put them in a giant plastic bag in my drawer, and that's where they live until 3 years later when I decide to pick it up again. But I decided that's silly. I actually want to see them quickly and easily, so I did this where I put them all in palettes and I made swatch cheat sheets. And obviously, if I took a color out of here, this wouldn't match exactly, so I might like cross one out or whatever, I don't know, change it. But by doing this, I realized over the years I had 4 of the same pans. Zoom out a little. I had 4 of the same pans of yellow. And 3 or 4 of my Bronzite Genuine, 3 buff titaniums, tons of golden, of quinacridone burnt orange. And I'm like, ugh, all this time, I could have just been like grabbing that one and using it up instead of making so many pans that are the same and just letting them dry out forever in my cupboard. So this will help, I think, going forward. So I have one for each, like these are my warm colors and these are my blues and greens and purples. And at quick glance, I can see, oh, I definitely want to grab that one, or I want to grab that one. I don't remember why I put these in. Oh, that's because these are my portable painter pans. So these specifically fit in the portable painter, which uses different pans. That's why they're separate. And then this one is like my separate granulating palette, which I often take outside and just use for fun. I do have a few of the Jackman's colors on here. Oh, by the way, Schmincke Deep Sea Green versus Jackman's Deep Sea Green. Extremely different. So that's what I mean about the names. Like across brands, they'll vary so much. And especially these type, because these are both granulating colors, they probably are a little quirky compared to others. I forgot where I was going with all this. Oh well. Palettes. Yay. Oh, and this is my little micro, which is also fun to take out if I just want something in my pocket. I think I was just sharing my strategy of why I have all these little pans. All my little palettes. Just change it up once in a while and try something else. And just cause. Okay, let's do a little mixing. Really? Really? What are you doing? Demanding attention. Yes, but you can't jump up. If you try to... Oh, he's laying on the ground. He likes the floor in here because it's cool. Because it's just the hardwood. And I think he just likes being around. Let's just see if we can get... what kind of greens we can get with this palette. So the ultramarine and the lemon yellow, which I am kind of using it like watercolor. I'm not, if it was out of the tube, it would probably be a little bit better, more opaque, but still a good quick comparison. And also, since I do use dried gouache palettes, I like to test stuff like this. So that's the lemon yellow, that's the cadmium yellow. No, I see you trying to jump up. No. You can stay in my hands, my arms, for a minute. How do you know what colors are in the pan? Are they labeled? No, but I've memorized them. And because I've pretty much exclusively switched to Daniel Smith, almost all my colors are Daniel Smith, and I know what they look like by now. When I use a new brand like this, Jackman's, that's why I keep it in a separate palette, because I haven't memorized it fully yet, except for a few. So, yeah, you need to get used to them first. You're gonna get so much kitty hair in my paints. Yeah. Your head smells so good right now. Did you go outside and get wet? Did it rain on your head? So he always tries to get this. When I'm not looking, he's like climbing up my shoulder. I shouldn't have moved it. Now you see it again. Yes. Mischievous. Mischievous. Ow! You know better. Don't climb on me. It's time to be a loaf. He's flicking his tail because he's mad that I'm stopping him from getting it. This is what happens when he's... Wait, which way do I move? Move, there. This is what happens when he's mischievous. I just hold him like this and then I keep painting. Yeah, because you're a little mischiever. I need another camera on the painting now. We need a kitten cam. Kitten cam. So I've never really loved ochre with ultramarine because it's quite muddy, but it can be really good for when you're doing like muted, shadowy greens or rocks that are covered in moss in the shadows. And then you could touch some lemon yellow into it and kind of start brightening it up if the sun is hitting it. He is enjoying the cool tunes. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen stories I've posted of him with his demon eyes. He is like the most demon eye kitty I've ever met. If you don't know what I mean, I'll show you. Like, when he's sleepy, he does this. His third eyelid closes, but his eyes are still open, kind of, so it looks like a little demon, and it's... like, I'll just be in bed reading, and I'll look up, and I'm like, oh my god. And he's like, he genuinely falls fast asleep doing that. Yeah. I'm hard to hear now. Oh, sorry, I had the mic turned to the side. Sorry. Thanks for reminding me. What are you looking at? What do you see? I hit his little face. You're just a mischiever. Ooh, I love that kind of thing. With gouache, it just flows differently, flows heavier, and you can get some really cool bleeding effects with it. Especially with something that's quite opaque. If you drop that into a transparent area that's wet, it flows, so it's so cool. I use that a lot for skies, especially. Ooh. He gets mad when I talk because I'm interrupting his nap. Yes. Interrupting his nap. All the beans in one spot. We need them all together. There we go. Have to put them all together. Then the taily. He's so distracting. We interrupt the stream. Worth it. Okay. I'm getting really hungry. I think I've been streaming now for 2 hours, so I think I may call it here. This was a really fun way to test out my new colors, just talk about them, and yeah. Now I'm painting with one hand. It's really challenging. Ooh, let's get some green in that purple. Ooh, yeah. Nice grayish purple color. That's so pretty. I'm like basically using it like watercolor though. Ooh. Okay. Sorry, keep moving the mic. Yeah, I think now is a good time to stop. 2 hours is generally good. And I'll be back next week with a video. And then maybe live stream the following weekend. We'll see. I have been wanting to do more live streams again. I might end up doing like a midweek stream one of these weeks. Just depends. So, yeah. And say goodbye to Kitten. Where are you? Say goodbye, little boy. Oh, did your tummy just rumble? You want some foods? Is that you? He sees himself on the screen. Is that you? Is that you, little boy? It's a kitten. Yeah. Do you want some foods? Some fishies? Do you want some chick? All right. Enough dilly-dallying. Enough. Go on. Now I shut him out and he's like, wait, you said foods. You tricked me. All right. I'm going to say goodbye here. Oh, he's coming back in. You are not jumping on the desk. That will be a disaster. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. It was fun. Thanks for chatting. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you all in the comments / next time. So thank you all. No. He's trying to. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. I will see you all soon-ish. Yeah.